For a lot of guys, when they have a goal or something that they're trying to achieve, they really do go hard. Like they put in a lot of effort. They really discipline themselves to go after and do it. But eventually it reaches a point where you're putting in all of this effort, but you're not getting a return on it. And it becomes very discouraging. It's like, man, I'm putting in all this effort, I feel like I'm being patient, I'm waiting for, something to happen, but I'm just not getting the results that I want. And eventually they end up quitting. Eventually they go on to, try something else, temporarily quit because they get really demotivated, get really discouraged. And I felt this on so many different levels, like so many different things I've wanted to try, so many things that I've done and really disciplined myself to do. But eventually, once I realized that I wasn't getting the results that I thought I should have by that point, by all that effort, I just quit. I was just like, this isn't worth it because I'm putting in a disproportionate amount of effort and getting a very low amount of rewards. The thing that I've realized in so many different disciplines is that you have to put in way more effort for way more time before the results actually explode. And this is the thing that a lot of people don't get. A lot of us have this idea that results in life are supposed to be linear. We think, okay, if I do this, if I, work on this skill, or if I, do this little discipline, it should linearly like go up. Like say, for example, if it's in business, I'm going to put in a lot of this effort. I'm going to, focus on sales and marketing, get all that stuff right. I'm going to set up my store, like whatever business you're doing, right? And they put in a lot of this effort and, say it takes like 6 months or whatever, maybe end of a year, and nothing happens. They're not getting sales. They're not profitable. And it's very frustrating because like I put in a year's worth of effort and I got nothing for it. I have nothing to show for it. And then they end up quitting. They end up going to do something else. They're like, they throw their hands up, right? Not realizing that they were just a couple of months away, a couple different actions away from exploding. Like this is what a lot of people don't get. Even if it's like in content creation, there's people who've been like creating content for months, years even, and eventually they make some video or something happens where eventually all of their videos start to blow up, and people call them an overnight success. And it's not just content creation, it's so many different things. I'm just giving you an example, but people will call them an overnight success. Cryptocurrency, oh yeah, these people are overnight success, because they just like did this and they got lucky or whatever. It's like, no, it took a lot of time, it took a lot of compounded effort, but eventually it did explode and eventually they got all those results. The thing you've got to understand in so many different disciplines in life is you've got to have way more patience than you think that you need to. You have to be able to have this like crystal clear mindset where you're like, okay, this is something that I'm going to go after, and having the mindset that I'm going to work on it until I get the results. It's not saying I'm going to do it for a certain amount of time. Like people have this idea, okay, I have this goal, I'm going to work on it for a year, and if it doesn't work for a year, then I'm just going to quit. It's like, no, I'm going to work on this, build this until it's, because it's where a lot of people get tripped up. And I think this is a fault of a lot of, or partially the fault of a lot of people who tell people to set goals, like SMART goals, specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, I think, and then like time based. People get stuck on the time thing. They're like, well, I've got to achieve this in a year. I've got to achieve this in the next quarter, the next few months or whatever. And they get so stuck up on this time thing, thinking that it's so important, because the point of having that is to, get you to get off your ass and actually like put in the work. But it backfires on a lot of people because they're like, if I don't achieve this in this time, then I failed, then I have to quit, and then I have to like go and do something else. It's like, no, you have to just keep going until you do it, because you don't know when you're going to have that success. If you're building muscle and you say to yourself, okay, I have to have the best physique within, a year from now, and then, you're doing all this effort and, you really don't see those results coming in because, your body is adapting and like all these changes are happening, whatever. You're getting used to getting into that routine. It's a lot of effort. You don't feel like you're getting the reward that you wanted. And because you said, okay, I'm only giving myself a year, once you realize that you're not in line with that, or the year the year passes and like you're not where you want it to be, if you just throw up your hands and quit, you're doing yourself such a disservice. Rather, if you just had the mindset that, okay, I'm going to keep working on my physique until I get where I want to, that's such a huge difference. I think that by constraining yourself by time, especially with a lot of different goals and ambitions that you might have in life, it really does set you back. It creates way more stress than it's worth than if you just had the idea of, okay, I'm going to work on this until I get it right, until something shapes, until I figure things out, really. I could give you so many different examples, but my point is, you've just got to stick to some things and you've got to realize that the results that you get for a lot of different things, a lot of worthwhile things, it's not linear. You could be genuinely working for years and it seems like nothing is happening. You've been grinding, you've been building these skills, you've been putting all this hard effort. It seems like nothing's happening. But then, you just put in one more year and then boom, everything explodes. All of that effort in the past is just like, all of it is worth it. But people aren't willing to wait. We're so used to having this linear reward system. And this is why so many people are like so addicted to like the 9 to 5 rat race or whatever, because it's like, okay, I put in 1 hour, I get this much money. It's like in business, it's a lot different. Like you can put in a whole bunch of hours and you get nothing for it. If it's in sales too, like you could put a whole bunch of hours into like trying to get this client and get a sale or whatever, you get absolutely nothing for it. But people in business and people in sales know that, okay, if I just keep putting in the time, if I keep putting in the effort, keep building my skills, eventually it's going to work. And this is why like so many people in business who are actually, successful, people in sales who are very successful, they're the people who've actually stuck to that discipline long enough to actually see the rewards, because they're not expecting this linear path. They know that it takes a while. It takes time to compound, whether it's your skills or your offer, whatever you're doing, to actually get that amount of output, the results that you want. You need to become way more patient than you think you have to. And the easiest way I can think of, the way that I try to think about a lot of things, is have the until mindset. I'm going to work. I'm going to build these skills. I'm going to work towards this goal until I achieve it. I don't care if I'm 30 years old, still trying to, build this business or, make YouTube videos or whatever. I don't care. I'm just going to figure it out. Eventually, if I stick to something long enough, I'm going to care about it. I'm going to like want to figure out how to actually do it. And I'm going to get good at it, because that's just how the game works. If I stick to something long enough, I know I'm going to get better at it. That's just how it is. I'm going to stick with these things for an unreasonable amount of time so that it becomes pretty much impossible that I don't succeed, versus being like everybody else who just wants to dabble in it. And, if they don't get lucky, then they're like, yeah, this doesn't work. Let me do something else. Anyways, be patient, don't quit, and you'll thank yourself. Peace out.